Hi guys, and welcome back to AJ's Cricket Daily. I want to jump straight into things today and take a look at a story that broke in Pakistan a few days ago now, but is still one that is getting a lot of attention around the world. So I think it's probably worth us taking a quick look at it today. The story involves ex-Pakistan international player Mohammed Hafeez, who recently gave an interview, pretty broad-ranging interview to be honest, talking about his hopes for the safe and successful return of cricket, and he addresses as well some comments made about his selection in the Pakistan side by some of the members of the media over in that part of the world. But it was really his response to a question about his thoughts on what Ben Stokes had said about India's very negative attitude when failing in their run chase against England at the 2019 World Cup. It was those comments that really caught the attention of cricket fans around the world, and so something I want to take a look at a bit more now. Now, for context, India came under fire for a lack of intent to chase down England's total in a World Cup group game last summer. And in reflecting on that particular match in his subsequent book, On Fire, Ben Stokes wrote, "Arguably, the way MS Dhoni played when he came in with 112 runs needed from 11 overs, that was even stranger. He appeared more intent on singles than sixes. Even with a dozen balls remaining, India could still have won. For me, while victory is still possible, you always go for broke." Now, I mean, these were pretty interesting comments at the time, and they certainly got my attention when I read them. But I think it's fair to say that Ben Stokes was not the only one who sort of raised an eyebrow at the somewhat subdued approach that India adopted in that run chase, despite the fact they were pretty well placed at one point following Rohit Sharma's century. As I say, Ben Stokes was not the only one to share those, to have those views, as it seemed that most of the media certainly shared them to some extent. And I have to say that personally, when I was watching that game, I have to be honest, I was pretty surprised. I really was. The shot selection, even the running between the wickets, two things that MS Dhoni in particular is an absolute master of, seemed fairly negative. And England allowed England to get the win pretty comfortably in the end. A win that was very detrimental, as it turned out, to Pakistan's own hopes of progressing in the tournament. And so I think that's why people are suggesting that Mohammed Hafeez has suddenly got involved and wanted to air his views. And got involved, he certainly has actually, because in no uncertain terms he agrees with the view that Ben Stokes took, and actually says that if you show the match to any cricket fan 100 times, the fan would take only one result from that game. The intent to play with the spirit was not there. And he goes on actually to say, go even one further step, and says, "I watched that entire match which Ben Stokes spoke about, and according to me, there was absolutely no intention from India of winning that match." Now, at first glance and sort of in isolation, these seem very, very controversial statements to make, to say in the least, especially when the idea of getting involved at all is probably not the best idea, as I'm not really sure what good can come of it, because we're here nearly a year after the game that we're talking about. A lot has happened in that year, a lot of very important things and very serious things have happened. So I don't necessarily see the sense in getting involved, but Mohammed Hafeez has certainly wanted to make his feelings clear, and it just seems that this is going to be a story that really won't go away, and I think it's certainly going to add yet more spice to the next India-Pakistan encounters, and maybe even the next India v England encounters, given it was Ben Stokes who first made the statements in his book last summer. So again, this seems like a story that really isn't going to go away anywhere. But I want to be fair though to say that although it was the game being lost by India and won by England was detrimental to Pakistan's own hopes, to be 100% fair to Mohammed Hafeez at all times, he does say that he doesn't think it was India's fault that Pakistan were eliminated from the tournament. In fact, he says that we played well in patches, but were effectively eliminated because of their own mistakes, our own mistakes, as he says. He doesn't blame anyone for the failure and tells his other teammates not to think that they bowed out of the tournament due to the result of another match. So it's clear he's not placing the blame at India's door, and he takes steps to make that very, very clear. But I still think his views on this are going to be seen as highly inflammatory. I think they're going to stoke the fires of the controversy, and this really has become a story. Here we are a year later that is rearing its ugly head again. So, and I don't, as I say, necessarily think it's very good for the for the game as a whole. I would like to focus on the return of Test cricket, of one-day cricket, of focus on all forms of cricket around the world and the positive aspects of the game. That's certainly what I would like to think people are doing. But Mohammed Hafeez has certainly played his part in ensuring that there's a bit of controversy going on as well. So let me know what you think about his statements. Get involved in the comments below. Do you agree with him? Do you disagree with him? Do you disagree with Ben Stokes, for that matter? What do you think they should have said, or do you have a view on the run chase itself? Either way, get involved in the comments. Let us know, and we'll certainly revisit this story in the future, because I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. Okay, so the second story I want to take a look at today, again, isn't the best news, unfortunately, because as the BBC show here, it's being reported down in Australia that the men's T20 World Cup, scheduled to take place in the country between mid-October and mid-November this year, is now looking extremely unlikely that it can go ahead, for obvious reasons, due to the global pandemic situation and all the related travel restrictions and crowd restrictions, etc., that have been placed upon that. It really is a huge blow for cricket fans around the world, as, like me, you're sort of desperate for something to look forward to, and really keen to see some live cricket and see the superstars of the T20 game gather in one place to smash it out the park and really show us why we love the great game of cricket. But unfortunately, it looks like that's not happening this year, so we will stay across it. Any updates that come out of Australia, we will of course let you know, but it really is a case that safety has to come first, as always, and we're sure Australia will make the right decision and put the safety and the health of players, fans, officials, administrators, and anybody who would gather to celebrate the great game at the T20 World Cup. They'll put their safety first, as they should, and we'll just have to go a little longer, guys, and wait patiently for the next instalment of international cricket, which we're hoping will come soon, with the England-West Indies test matches scheduled to start in early to mid-July. But for now, we'll have to sit tight, stay patient, and make sure that when the game does return to our screens, we're ready to watch and ready to enjoy it as much as we can. Having said all that, it does appear that there is some good news on the horizon, because it's a story coming out of South Africa is that Cricket South Africa has teamed up with a company called 3-Team Cricket in order to offer a very experimental new format to the game that they're hoping will allow cricket at the elite level to return to South Africa as safely and as successfully as possible. Now, as I say, this is a very experimental new format, and this particular showpiece is going to feature just 3 teams. And in those 3 teams, there are just 8 players on each team, and they will all play against each other on the same day for what's become known as the Solidarity Cup. Now, this, as I say, there's a raft of new rules that makes this a highly experimental format, but I think what's exciting cricket fans around the world is that the 3 teams for this particular event are going to be captained by AB de Villiers, Quinton de Kock, and KG Rabada, which you just don't get 3 better names in South African cricket at the moment. So that's got people extremely excited. And a quick dive into the team list of the 3 teams involved in this particular showpiece event shows that it really is more than just the captains in terms of the stellar names from international South African cricket. A quick read here, we can see Faf du Plessis, Chris Morris, Temba Bavuma, David Miller, Aidan Markram, amongst a good few others. So again, the names on these lists look really, really exciting, and I for one can't wait to explore more about this game. As I've mentioned, it is highly experimental, featuring only 8 players in each team. And as we can see here, there's a raft of other conditions that will make this a very innovative new format. For example, the match is played over 36 overs in 2 halves of 18. Teams bat for 1 innings of 12 overs, split between 2 6-over periods, facing one opponent in the first half and then their other opponent in the second half of the same match. So all 3 teams effectively becoming involved in the same game. And as you can see here on screen, there's a a lot of new detailed rules that they're bringing in. Some of them are going to be easy to digest, some of them are going to be very complicated for people. But what is important is Cricket South Africa, along with three-team cricket, really looking to innovate to help get elite cricket back to South Africa as quickly as possible. And I, for one, am very, very excited to see this new format in action. And right here on AJ's Daily Cricket, we will bring you updates as to how it was received by the fans, how it received by the players, and as many highlights as we can of the cricket itself in days to come. So stay tuned for that. But good news on the horizon, cricket returning to South Africa. And finally, guys, we're going to take a look at today's amateur moment. And this one really is a very strange incident from the Surrey leagues here in England. As you can see, the bowler's released a delivery which is shaped back into this batsman, and he's ended up playing it onto his own stumps, not able to keep it out. But as you can see, when the ball's made contact with the stumps, it's caused the bail to fly up in the air and then come and land exactly back on top of the stump. An absolutely freak delivery and a freak thing to have happened to the stumps and the bails in its aftermath. Really strange. And I can see it certainly caused a bit of concern and a bit of confusion amongst the players here of this particular match. Sanderstead CC, a great cricket club in Surrey, batting here, and they're the ones who not quite sure what's gone on and what to do in this particular instance. But I think because the bail has come out of its groove fully, it is in fact out, and unfortunately the batsman will be trudging off head in hand, sort of a bit incredulous as to how that's happened to him. But yeah, just an absolute freak one, and not really without precedent, because it's happened in a game that I was actually involved in a few years ago. My brother was the bowler at the time. Very similar, actually. It was an inside edge onto the stump, and for some reason left the bail sat on top of the stump itself. So absolutely bizarre incident, but it seems they're not quite as rare as you might imagine. But if anything like that has ever happened to you, or you've got any other freak dismissals that have taken place, then let me know in the comments. And if you've got any video footage of them, I'll be sure to get in touch to get hold of that so we can take a look here on AJ's Daily Cricket. But that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. I hope everyone stays well, stays safe, and looks forward to the return of cricket as soon as possible. But until next time, see you soon.